Because yeah. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so for reason why he definitely failed it was because I was just reading and just had finished uh Star Wars Gambit's the two Gambit books from the Clone Wars series. It talked about how the it talked about earlier on into the fight where everything was going into this fight and where they were first in a bioweapon that we after the one from season 1 because it was that Pneumonian who was leading the group for this freaking bioweapon, and and how it killed and how they kept it a secret from Chancellor, even though we know that Sidious and all that stuff, and how it kept it quiet from the whole Jedi Order, and how a whole planet of people died because they kept this much of a secret and they didn't want to let it go known. So it's like with this being the case, if the order is could risk a bioweapon being let go, and I mean we are not even seeing what else they haven't done that we know could be the case because there is more, 100% more. Agree, disagree? They allow a bioweapon to go out and destroy a million things. Do you think because of that action it had became one of the biggest faults of the order? Agree, disagree? Yeah, it's definitely a big. I don't think you're wrong. I just think the order just. Okay. Does Master okay? Goes to my second question. Does Master Yoda fail as a Grandmaster? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm just saying he completely failed as a uh it's completely their fault 100%. It's repeat that one more time. Look, I think so far the worst Grandmaster. I don't like him as Grandmaster. He falls short of times where he could be worse. I don't like him when he compared to other Grandmasters. Uh, yes, but one of the grandmasters that I will also say is one of the worst. I don't think he's the worst grandmaster. I think he fails at as a grandmaster because obviously we have the acolyte situation, and then we have the Sidious situation. But doesn't Grandmaster Luke from Canon worse? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I did not hear Ruben say that, but if Ruben said that, I agree. Okay, Canon Luke sucks. We all know this. All right. My final question and the final question of the video of the stream and everything because we had to fix everything audio cut. We gotta make sure everything be good for the next one, and this doesn't cut at the worst possible time. But and I want this big giant, but this one will take more than 20-30 minutes. I think. Does does Star Wars have a timeline problem? They try to they with everything that has happened with each new show and everything that is happening, everything's in a crunch. So a lot of people have started complaining about every little thing. Example, the Ahsoka show. Oh, but that's not the one from Legends. Yeah, they really can't do anything because this is all leading up to the First Order. Oh, look at what look they did the exact same thing they did for Anakin. It was never stated that Anakin was the first person to do this. It was just not knowledge. And that freaking Cal Moody says we haven't seen there has been a system millennia, and then look what happens. That's they never confirmed this was a Sith or not. We are how do how does how does adding new shows that adds before, during, and after each trilogy has this effect has this affected how the way of fans seeing Star Wars property and how easily they complain about every little thing? Hello? Can anybody hear me? I'm asking you guys. Ruben? Yeah. So you don't think that how they're adding like the show like the acolytes, and then you have the Mandalorian between, and then you have also Ahsoka show doesn't like this is all happening in a certain period of time. But and since everything's in its whole time loop, that instead of we had gotten the sequel trilogy, and then everything has to lead up to the sequel trilogy without messing with the sequel trilogy, that doesn't affect the stories and everything else. So you think it's just you But I don't. That's my one of my biggest problems. That a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's bad. It's bad writing." Like, how is it bad writing? They're limited what they can use. Like a big example. I think one of the bigger problems is that the first order stuff is way too close. It's only 30 years. If this was 100, 200 years after the main story, it would be easily fixed. But because everything has to be happening in such a small little time, it affects every project. Because you're going back to the original trilogy and continuing that story afterwards. Yes, the Acolyte is before the prequels, but the Ahsoka show is after the prequels, and that's one of the and Ahsoka. Yeah, after the original trilogy, we have Mando, Ahsoka, and many others after the original trilogy, and that's again one of the bigger problems that I have been discussing. It's not because I not yeah yeah Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, yeah, and then there's and then Andor is between 4 and 5, so it's Kenobi. But this is one of those things that's what we were. This is one of the things I wanted to discuss. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's between episode 3 and episode 4. Yeah, that's what I said. It's Andor and Kenobi between 3 and 4. If I didn't say that right, I apologize. I was trying to say. I apologize. 3 and 4. That was what I meant to say. All right. Give me a second. Trying to see every Star Wars show. They had the Assassin's Crew is same period. Tales of the Empire between 3 and 4. Bad Batch between 3 and 4. Yeah. So far that's everything so far of series and everything. Current continuity, and this is one of those things that I was talking about. Even though Acolyte is before the prequels, because everything leads to the prequels, which then leads to the original trilogy, then leads to the sequels that affects it. They had to. Everyone knew that this was everybody, and that's again a lot of knowledge of us knowing Star Wars. A lot of people knew about the Sith in the Acolyte, and we already knew this. But a lot of people tend to realize, not everything's going to be knowledgeable of it because the Order can be cocky or it can be many things. But I'm not going to use the Acolyte as a thing. Do you think what has probably affected writing for certain characters like Thrawn, stuff about the Mandalorian, is because everything has to happen in this 30-year time? I say 30, I don't actually know the exact number, but it's around, I want to say 30 years. Do you guys feel like if everything from the sequel trilogy was 100, 200, or at least 300 years after, that could give some breathing room where, like, it could have fleshed out more of the story, like in the EU. Yeah, again, that's fair, and I don't disagree with that. We also have Battlefront 2 that adds to that story as well. And I think Battlefront 2 is EA's Battlefront 2 story mode did a good job with that on that as well. But I also personally think, and again, you don't have to agree with me. No one has to agree with me that the whole order, the whole thing, not the whole order, the whole thing of it is that I'm not even gonna. I'm not use. And that's. I think a big thing has been that people complain about writing. Mando was Mando season 1 and 2 were excellent. 3 was subpar. I think Ahsoka show was really good. Was it? It's a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. But a lot of people tend to. But when you use somebody like Thrawn, and you know I'm not wrong. When people hear Thrawn, you're thinking of Legends, and you know how dangerous. We all know how dangerous Thrawn is in Legends. But oh, I have no problem with Thrawn in canon either. But a lot of people say he's a lot more, he's not as vicious as he was in Legends. And that's my problem. A lot of things in Legends that they couldn't bring over to canon is because when Thrawn came back, he was the force that was helping try to fight, and he was able to get the Empire to get more space. You can't do that in canon because he didn't introduce him in a way that when they had him disappear, it they already had it as a finite that when he returns, it's not gonna be in a big event like it was in Legends. And a lot of people just does not understand that. What we have is you have to understand the the rebellion war between the Empire and the rebellion ends 2 years after 2 years after the Battle of Endor, 2 or 3. And what Thrawn did was in a 3 year span. Oh, back for a second. I'll continue. Josh, Thrawn did his whole thing in a 3 year span, not 3 year, in a couple months span with resources that aren't even here, with story stuff that's not here. You can't use cloning because Camino's destroyed. You can't use you can't use a armada that doesn't exist anymore because that one doesn't work anymore. You can't use it's hard to use you can't use bounty hunter freaking not bounty hunters freaking pirates because pirates in between this period of time is completely different. Welcome back, Ruben. I was so I was explaining that they can't use cloning. I was explaining to Josh that they can't use cloning because when Thrawn did the clone in his army, they can't use it no more. That's that whole reason is not accessible in that form. You can't use a disappearing ships because that armada doesn't exist because it in it just doesn't fit in the timeline like it did in Legends until and then that kind of got fucked up because hence why everything because they even if you look at it from Legends continuity where they had this uh armada disappear, no one they never really talked about that in any book. So it's only still a second book thing of Legends for Thrawn that kind of is still up in the air if it still would have been canon. Then you also have I said and then you can't use pirates because pirates in this era didn't want to work with the Empire. So all this stuff, and then all the stuff that also added to what made Thrawn very dangerous just doesn't work. You can't use. And I said pirates. I meant to say smugglers. It just doesn't work. In all the stuff from Legends doesn't work in canon because there's no way it would work. You are not going to find any smuggler who's going to work with the Empire. You're not going to find any. You're not going to find. You're not going to find any cloning stuff in the universe of in the inner rims or the outer rims, you would have, because remember, even for Sidious, that's further, that's in a whole that's in the unknown region on a whole different planet. So that's only for and Camino is destroyed. There's no dark Jedi's don't exist. Okay, so yes and no. Yes, but this is the problem with Legends, and I'm gonna tell you right now. This is the problem with because in book two, it was not it was like so that's what's up, Luther? We're almost done. We're almost done. uh, this man. So in Legends, okay, so in book two of the Thrawn trilogy, it's a whole. Camino wasn't a thing. You have to remember this. With book two, Camino wasn't a thing. So this is why I said book two is kind of the Armada and the cloning is kind of very still iffy. That's why I said it still doesn't work in the context in Legends, but it doesn't also work in canon at all. That's why, and especially in canon, it's a again unknown region with that stuff. But it's a big factor to it. And then you had the, and then they don't. Again, it's very rare they talk about creatures who don't can block out the force, and they really talked about that in the Thrawn trilogy, and not once has it been shown or ever used, unless it was during the High Republic. So I'm telling you now, a lot of people's expectation of Thrawn, what he was going to do, and how they executed, have it has caused a lot of problems. Me as that big thing of how why are you gonna be like, oh, you did this, you're disgusting to you realize this is what they gotta work with. This is they can't use a lot of things. Thrawn is still dangerous. He's using freaking Night Sisters magic. Be happy he's using something that is can fuck up with the force that's not easily gonna be easy to deal with, and yet people can't be happy about it. He can't be, instead of having a clone army, he has a zombie army. What's freaking wrong with that? Ruben? Josh? What's wrong with having him having a zombie army? Him having a zombie army. Right, but apparently fans need to have him have a clone army. Why does he need to have a clone army? How is he gonna have resources to a clone army? He doesn't have he isn't coming back to where everyone is still working together, especially after the battle of freaking Endor. So many splinter factions. No one's gonna listen to no one. Everyone's becoming pirates in the Empire who are freaking admirals. How explain to me how explains can anyone tell me how they could have not done it any better than they did in this other show? What would you have changed for him? Hmm? What do you say, Ruben? That's what I'm saying. Giving him a zombie army to replace the clone army is somewhat accept not even somewhat is acceptable because and it's not like oh it's just a random clone army that they did like they did with the virus that makes freaking zombies. No, they use night systems, which we know can make zombies. So what the heck? So and these not and it's not like oh but night systems exist in our universe, and it's been said they don't come from our universe. Oh, he found night systems in a different universe. He got lucky. Yet people still complain. What what can they what can you do with it? Because you can't honestly, yes, I think Thrawn is what you would say is as dangerous as Darth Vader. But since you have such a limited time, and you kind of have to do this before the end of the fight with the Empire, how are they supposed to do anything? How? Can anybody tell me when the Battle of Jakku happened after Endor? How many years after Endor? I need to remember this because this is going to add to this really badly. Mm, you're funny. Battle of Jakku happened in 5 ABY, and Battle of Endor happened in 3 ABY, right? Battle of Endor. Can you load? Battle of Endor happened in 4. Okay, one even worse. 1 year later. The Battle of Jakku is 1 year later. Now I said 2, I said 3. I'm completely wrong. It's 1 year later. How are you supposed to? They're supposed to fit how much shit in 1 year? Ahsoka, I think, I think Ahsoka's after the Battle of Jakku or before the Battle of Jakku. Okay, so the Battle of the Ahsoka show just after the Battle of Jakku, right after the Battle of Jakku. So you're telling me now that after the Battle of Jakku, the Empire is destroyed. Everyone, how is he supposed to get these resources? Explain to me. Explain to me. You had season one. You have season 1 and 2, and Mandalorian season 3. 1 and 2 is between the Battle of Jakku and the Battle of Endor. Season 3 is after freaking Jakku. So that means when we saw what happened with everything happening in this, you're seeing the Empire completely done. How? But how would they know? It's very hard for them to even to expect Thrawn to return if they're not searching for Thrawn. The person who was searching for Thrawn found Thrawn, and they helped him return. But he's not going to them. He's going to Dathomir. So yeah, there is no knowledge of that. It's just like, that's not that's true. I'll let you continue, Ruben. I'm sorry. Ruben, you can continue. I'm sorry. Okay, But the Battle of Jakku really limited the Empire's resources, and the Empire was defeated. That was the last Battle of Jakku was the last Empire battle. That's when the rebellion won. So they're fragments. You have to understand. This is not the same in Legends when Thrawn came back. It was after the Battle of Endor. So I, that's my whole case and problem. The Battle of Jakku. This it is. Look, we'll definitely discuss this more next time because we're gonna have to go more further into detail. I know, I know you have to get prepared for work, and I know I'm gonna. So we need to. I need to let you get some food and other stuff, Ruben. I know you have to prepare for work. Yep. Josh, I'm gonna definitely talk to you later. Since now everything's working up, and we gotta discuss more. How are you still? What episode of season 6 are you on? All right. Yeah, I just got. I definitely. You. I'm gonna. Yep. I'm gonna end the stream here, and we'll let you guys know what episode he's on.